Hey guys, so tonight's video I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. The last couple of Photoshop tutorials I've done, they were kind of just like time-lapse, and I just added music and kind of just went right through them. But I was asked on my business page, someone had commented on a photo of mine of my daughter and wanted to know how I basically got the sparkly background into my picture. Now, I know you probably have no clue what I'm talking about, but I'm going to show you. This is the image that was commented on. I'll show you the original image is right here. As you can see, this was shot poorly. You can see all the Christmas lights in the background. My backdrop is wrinkled, and the lighting is all sorts of wacky. So I'm going to basically just show you step by step how I do my full composites, and basically we're going to turn this image into this image. So let's just go ahead and click out of that. So for today's tutorial I will be using my Adobe Photoshop Elements 12. This is the first editor that I ever started playing around with. Well, actually I started with Elements 12, but then I had to upgrade, and I upgraded to 13 obviously. But so yeah, so I edit all of my images in expert mode. This is how I learned. I went straight into expert mode. I didn't do any of the quick or guided or anything like that. So I'm just going to show you how I do my full composites from start to finish. So let's get started. Okay, so after searching my computer for about 25 minutes, I finally found the wallpaper that I'm going to use for this image. I'm pretty sure I just typed in like Christmas lights backgrounds or something on Google, and I found this one that I really liked. So what I'm going to do first is, with every image, I always fix the background first, which is all of this white right here. Now there are a couple ways that you can do it. Usually I go up here to the healing brush. Now you can use the regular healing brush, which is right here, or you can use the spot healing brush. Now the difference between that is, I'll show you. Now the spot healing brush, you can just basically go over it and it will kind of like copy what's around it. Now the only thing about this, so if I come over here, like say I'm close to Gabriella's face, sometimes it will pick up around the area. It didn't do it this time, but I don't usually use that one. I use just the regular healing brush. Now I do have my brush on 400, and I always have it on normal. You can do the replace, that basically just replaces the background with whatever you put your little marker on, but I'm just going to do normal because I just want to blend it out. So I'm going to decrease my brush just a little bit, and I'm going to pick a spot. Oh, that's a little too much. Bring it back up a little bit. Okay. A little bit more. Nope, too big. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing. And basically all I do is I pick a well-lighted area. Since I do my shoots in my living room, as you can see, there is light over here, and there is light over here, and then right here it's pretty dark. So I always clone pretty much the image or the area that's over here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my Alt button, and I get this little like round thing, and then you just want to click, and that basically clones what I just did right there. As you can see now, when I move my brush up here, it looks a little bit different. So now what I do is I just go over like this. And this process does take a little while, but this is just how I started blending my backgrounds, and this is what I've stuck to. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this background, and I will be back in a second. Now I do just want to say this quickly. I am not positive that this image is going to turn out exactly how the other one turned out. I can edit an image 5 times in a row and it always comes out different every time, so I just want you guys to be aware of that. In my other time-lapse video, I think of I was creating the Enchanted Forest, maybe that's what it was. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but I was actually going off of the actual like Photoshop edit that I did, and I was just clicking my screens back and forth, but I didn't save my Photoshop edit, so I'm just doing it all over again. So I am just winging it, and hopefully I can get it somewhat similar to the one that I showed you guys in the beginning of the video. So I am halfway through doing the background, and I'm going to finish that and be right back. So now that the background is pretty much all even except for this right here, we are going to move on to the next step. Now there are a couple of like little things that you could smooth out more, like around the body, but since we are putting in this image into back here, it really won't matter because this will pretty much be covered. So now what I like to do is I just like to go up to my magic wand, or this is the quick selection, and then I go just to the regular quick selection brush, and I'm going to outline everything in the white. So I'm just going to drag this around her body, and it's okay if it goes over a little bit, because then you can just go down here, hit your subtract button, and go ahead and subtract everything. So now I'm just subtracting everything that I don't want in the quick selection, and do her face and her ponytail. And you do want to make sure that your selection is pretty good, because it will show up if you don't select everything around her face. So I think that's pretty good, except for that one spot. So I'm just going to go back down here to add and click that right there. Oh, and I see another spot. So we're going to go ahead, go back to the subtract and just add in her dress. Now it did, let's see, it did go back to that, so we're just going to add that back in. And I'm just going to go look at this quickly, see if I have everything that I want. Okay. So now I'm just going to zoom back out, and I'm going to go up here to my filter, and then we're going to go down to blur, and we're going to go to this one right here. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it because I will probably butcher it, but you can go ahead and play with this little button right here. Basically, if you look right here, you can see it blending, or you can see it blurring. So we don't want it that high. I just want it blurred a little bit, so she will pop out of the picture a little bit more. So just hit OK. Go ahead and hit Control D, and that will deselect everything that you have already selected. What I like to do before I go in and add the Christmas background is I like to do I like to fix the lighting, and I like to fix her face a little bit, like smooth it out and all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to Enhance, and I'm going to Adjust Color and Adjust Color Curves. So this is the before and this is the after, and I always keep mine on default, and I'm just going to adjust my highlights a little bit, and as you can tell, she's a little bit more brighter, and then I'm going to increase my mid-tone brightness a little bit. And let's see, and as you can see, it makes the entire picture a little bit more brighter. And then I'm going to decrease the contrast just a little bit, and I'm going to increase the shadows. So basically we're going to make the shadows disappear. So I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm still on my quick selection tool, so I'm going to grab her face and anywhere else that I want her skin to be smoothed. So her arms, her face, her neck, and I think that's all the skin that shows in this picture. Yep. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Select, and I'm going to hit Refine Edge. Now this will take you onto the screen where basically it just shows you what you selected. So you can play with these, but most of the time I don't. I just let it be, and the only thing that I do is I go to down here where it says Output 2, I go down and I hit New Layer with a layer mask. Now basically you have another little bar thing up here, and this is the image and this is the layer mask. Now you can turn this on and off. So now this step, what I'm going to do is I have my regular image selected, and I'm going to go up to Filter, and I'm going to go to Blur, and I'm going to go down to Surface Blur. And this is where I'm going to blur or smooth her face, and as you can see, that's pretty smooth and blurred, and we don't want it that much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my radius down a little bit, and as you can see, it changes it.
I make you a cake, Mom.
Well, thank you, baby.
I make it too hot.
Okay, go put it back in the oven.
Okay. Too hot.
Okay. So I think I'm pretty happy. Wait. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the way her skin looks now, so I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now what I'm going to do is we're just going to wait for this to load. Step is pretty important. So now that we already blurred out her skin, or we smoothed her skin, I just went over here and I hit my brush tool and I just picked a random brush, and we will play with the opacity and stuff like that once we get everything situated over here. You just want to make sure that you have your layer mask still selected, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to turn my background layer back on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to go over the spots that I want to be the natural image, like things that aren't smooth, like your eyes, your lips, your teeth, anything like that. And as you can see over here, if you look closely, you see the little outlines of her mouth. Now I'm going to go in and raise my opacity a little bit, and I'm going to go back in and just click back over those. And usually I will do this until these marks over here are fully black. So that way I know that the full background image is showing through. So Now that that is done, I'm going to zoom back out and I'm going to move my background into this image. So now I'm going to go over to the background and I'm going to go up here to the little selection button, and you always want to make sure this isn't a layer, and that way you'll be able to move it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to left click on it and bring it up over here and lay it right on top. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit shift and I'm going to make this way bigger. And I'm just going to move it right on top of her. And just go ahead and hit your check mark, and the background image is clear now. So now what you want to do is you want to come over here and you want to play with your options. Now a lot of these will not work for this image, so you just kind of have to play around with it. I'm not too sure which one that I used, but I think I'm going to go with screen. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm just going to click out of it, and I'm going to make sure that this is selected, and I'm going to pick up my tool, my paintbrush tool again, and I'm just going to do a quick layer mask and make sure it's on the black, and we are going to make the brush a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to bring her back into the picture. Now my opacity is down, so I want to bring that back up and basically erase everything that is not the background. So her skin, her dress, her hair. Now it's okay if you go outside the box a little bit. I just like to go around her and make sure she is fully standing out. And then what you can do is I just like to make this whole entire area black, like right here, just to make sure that none of that image is showing through. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to bring my opacity down to about 50, and I'm going to switch over to the white. Now this is going to bring the color back into the background. So I just want to click around her and bring back some of the background. And you can go ahead and make your brush smaller and get real close to her. Okay, so I'm going to click back over to the black and just bring back her hair. And I want to bring the opacity back up. Okie dokie. So there you have it. That is how I pretty much put that background into this image. Now, before you save your image, you always want to flatten these layers, otherwise it will save as a PSD document, and that's basically just a Photoshop document. So if you'd save it as a PSD and you would open it back up, you would open everything that you have done. So I'm just going to right click over here and I'm going to hit flatten image. And then this will flatten everything together, so then you can go ahead and save it as a JPEG. So that is pretty much it for this image. I will go into a separate program and add my filters and do my skin smoothing a little bit more, and my eye brightening and my teeth whitening and things like that. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I wasn't babbling on too much, but if you do like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I always try to upload on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and until then, I will see you next time. Bye. Face brushes, and then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 like eyeshadow brushes and stuff.